A freshman at a prestigious university mysteriously disappeared without a trace after a sports match, leaving her car unlocked with the keys inside in the parking lot. The police didn't investigate the case, assuming that the girl had simply run away. However, her parents and friends knew that something terrible had happened. For 12 years, this mystery remained unsolved, and only after all that time did the truth come to light. In this video, we will tell you what happened to Shannon Melendi. It is well known that the first 24 hours after a person goes missing are crucial. In Shannon Melendi's case, the police treated her disappearance as a joke, effectively helping the killer cover their tracks and remain free for many years. Fortunately, nearly 10 years later, detectives decided to take a fresh look at the case and eventually caught the person responsible for Shannon's death. Shannon Melendi was the joy and pride of her parents, Luis and Yvonne, who had moved to the United States from Cuba in the late 1980s. They wanted to give their daughter and other children a better future, so they worked hard to ensure they lacked nothing. Shannon fulfilled all their hopes. She was an exemplary student and leader, from being a member of the National Honor Society to being elected president of her school. After graduating with honors, Shannon enrolled at Emory University in Georgia, where she planned to study law. Just as in high school, she excelled here as well. But soon, her promising life would be cut short forever. Luis and Yvonne. Melendi's eldest daughter would not even live to see her 20th birthday. On Saturday, March 26, 1994, 19-year-old Shannon was working as a secretary at a softball tournament in Atlanta. This job allowed her to save money for a summer vacation she planned to spend in Florida. At 1 p.m., during a half-hour break in the game, Melendi got into her black Nissan and drove off in an unknown direction. This was the last time she was seen alive. That evening, after failing to contact Shannon, her parents decided to report her missing to the police. However, the police refused to accept the report, arguing that this was a common occurrence among young people. Even when Shannon's car was found the next day near a nearby gas station with the keys still in the ignition, the police once again reassured the Melendi family, saying, "It's too early to worry. She probably ran off with some guy and will be back soon." "You have nothing to worry about," they told Luis and Yvonne at the police station. It's worth noting that Shannon loved her car very much, and it was unlikely that she would have carelessly parked it at a gas station and, on top of that, left it unlocked. But the officer simply asked the Melendi family's neighbor to drive the car back to campus, thus missing the opportunity to collect valuable evidence that might have been inside the vehicle. 3 days after Shannon's disappearance, when the authorities finally began searching for her, a man called the police and said there was an error in the flyers reporting the missing student. The girl's shorts were blue, not green. He was right. "I'll keep her as long as I want," the man said before hanging up. 11 days after Shannon's disappearance, an unknown man, possibly the same one who called before, contacted Emory University's hotline, claiming that he had Melendi's ring. Before ending the call, he added that Shannon was fine and that she missed her family. Although the call was brief, the FBI managed to trace it to a payphone located 30 kilometers from Shannon's campus. There, they found a cloth pouch containing Melendi's ring wrapped in tape. Unfortunately, due to the lack of fingerprints or DNA, they couldn't track down the perpetrator. When the police interviewed everyone present at the softball game where Shannon was last seen, they identified their first suspect, Butch Hinton, a referee who couldn't take his eyes off Shannon throughout the tournament. He was so captivated by the beautiful brunette that he approached her several times to flirt. Another suspicious detail was that on March 26th, Butch returned from his lunch break an hour later than scheduled, coming back at 3:00 p.m. instead of 2:00 p.m. Butch Hinton, 33 years old, was married with a child. He drew the attention of the police because he had previously served time for criminal actions against a 14-year-old schoolgirl. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison but served only 2. After his release, Butch moved to Atlanta and started working as a mechanic for Delta Airlines. Additionally, he worked as a softball referee and taught Sunday school. The police searched Hinton's home but couldn't find any evidence linking him to Melendi. 6 months after Shannon's disappearance, a fire broke out at Butch's house. Suspecting insurance fraud, the police got involved. When officers interviewed the neighbors, they reported that on the day Shannon went missing, Hinton had been burning a large fire in his backyard for an extended period. The authorities decided to dig up Butch's property, where they made alarming discoveries: dozens of buttons from various women's clothing and several partially burned items. This raised suspicions that Hinton might be a serial killer. However, the detectives lacked enough evidence to charge him with any crimes. The only clue the police found in Hinton's garage was a roll of tape identical to the one wrapped around Shannon's ring. Unfortunately, this small piece of evidence wasn't sufficient to reliably connect him to Melendi's disappearance. Soon after, however, Butch ended up in prison anyway, as he was found guilty of insurance fraud related to his home, worth $185,000, and was sentenced to 10 years behind bars. While serving time for arson, Hinton's cellmate informed the police that Butch had hinted at his involvement in Shannon's disappearance. This prompted detectives to attempt to reopen the Melendi case. They re-examined the scant evidence in the case, the most significant being the ring found at the payphone. While the jewelry itself didn't lead to the criminal, the pouch it was found in looked promising. An analysis of the material led the police to conclude that it was manufactured by the Fulton Paper Company, which supplied all its products to Delta Airlines, Butch's employer. Another crucial piece of evidence was found on the tape wrapped around the ring. Tiny metallic particles, used exclusively in the aerospace industry, were detected. It was later discovered that Butch worked with parts made from this material at Delta. Despite the lack of a body, a crime scene, and only circumstantial evidence, Butch was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. After exhausting all avenues to avoid punishment, Hinton eventually confessed to Shannon's murder. According to Butch, on March 26th, during the break, he offered to take Shannon out to lunch. But once they were in the car, he forced her to drive to his home. After committing the horrific crime, Hinton destroyed all evidence in the fire. He's the most cunning serial killer we've ever dealt with. Yes, I believe he's killed several people, though we haven't been able to link him to other victims, said one of the detectives involved in the case, speaking anonymously. Since then, Butch has repeatedly been denied parole, which he is eligible to request every 7 years. The next hearing is scheduled for 2025. And that concludes our coverage of this tragic story. If you found this video informative or thought-provoking, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates on cases like these. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to share this video with your friends and give it a thumbs up if you found it valuable. Thank you for watching.